Every evening, we bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Pauline Gaston in tonight's Game Plan. We'll break down the ongoing matchups in the PBA Philippine Cup semifinals.
We'll also hear from Choco Mucho Flying Titans as they talk about their campaign in the PBL Invitational Conference. And we'll do a rundown of the best blockers in the 2022 PBL Invitational Conference for a fresh serving of the game's top picks. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Day 5 of the PBA Philippine Cup semifinals happens tomorrow, and the TNT Tropang Giga are on the brink of eliminating the Magnolia Hotshots, while the Meralco Bolts have tied their series versus San Miguel. Joining us to talk about both these matchups is PBA Rush analyst and Meralco Bolts assistant coach. Also, ang daming palang honors dito, the 2013 PBA Coach of the Year, Coach Luigi Trillo. Coach, how are you? All right, Coach, I think you're on mute right now. Can we try and get that fixed?
Hey, guys.
Ayon, there. Perfect. All right, Coach, first of all, thank you very much for coming on. And second, bago yung co-host ko dito, debutant dito. She's excited to be here. Of course, you do know her dad from your time coaching with him before. I'll let her start this off kasi syempre we're all really excited about the way that you tied up your series against the San Miguel Beermen, and she's got a few questions for you.
Coach, congratulations again on tying the series. For our first question, let's focus on a couple of names, your players. Let's start with Aaron Black with 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. Maybe you can also talk about Alain Maliksi with his 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist.
Hi, Pauline. Yeah, the two have been playing very well for us, no?
Yeah.
But the nice thing here is we're picking spots on the court. We know coming into this game 5 that there'll be marked men, so quality of shots is important for us. Aaron almost had a triple-double the last game, right? But they're obviously they're taking some things away from him. They're packing the paint, so we just trust his decision making. He's got to be strong with the ball the next game. We know that San Miguel plays with a lot of physicality. They play bully ball. In their 2 wins, you could feel the physicality right from the start. So we know AB is gonna be a marked man. He's got to be smart. Elaine also was significant. He only had 25 minutes, 6 out of 12. But again, guys setting him up. And likewise, we want Aaron and Elaine to set the other guys up. Chris Banchero was quiet in that last game. We know he can score. Bongkito can score. Chris Newsom struggled a bit, but he eventually picked it up. But we know these guys can score. So aside from Aaron and Elaine, we're also worried about the other side. You have Encito that was 0-4 from the field. Jericho Cruz 1 out of 5, Chris Ross 0 out of 2. So we know these guys are gonna come back. We know what San Miguel is all about. They've added pieces, and that's why it's a 7-game series. You expect these pieces to bounce back.
Yeah, Coach. At the moment, just so we can get a clear view of your face, Coach, could you lower your camera just a bit so it's a bit more central? And second, syempre, you mentioned it a while ago, the San Miguel Beermen, the guys that you mentioned, there are a few guys there who did not come up with the numbers that they normally do. So palagay mo ba, Coach, was that a function of the way that you played them, or was it just a case of it was their off night and you just took advantage?
Well, in a series, guys have to play both ends of the court. And like they beat us 2 games, you give them credit for playing good defense. Some of our guys didn't play well or play to their strengths, right? But in this game, you try to take some things away from San Miguel, and in this game, looking forward to next game, like Motao Tua only had 1 point. You had Enciso 0 for 4, Cruz 1 out of 5, Ross 0 out of 2. These guys can play. And in their wins, they came up big as well, helping Perez and Fajardo. Right?
Yeah.
So we're careful about that. We don't want to tap each other on the back. We know that what's ahead of us. We just put it into a best of three, and moving forward, for us to get past San Miguel, we have to take care of both ends, right? And we know what San Miguel's about. Aside from Ginebra and Tokentex winning those last Philippine Cup championships,
Yeah.
they're really 5 champions.
Yeah.
And they've added pieces. They've added Brondial, they've added Cruz, they've added Vic Manuel, arguably pound for pound, aside from Ian Sangalang, at his prime.
Yeah.
Really a guy, one of the best post players there with Tautua. So it's just not Junmar Fajardo anymore. So they have pieces. And as much as we want to talk about what we did the last game, I'm more worried and concerned about what these guys who couldn't get the same flow that they had will be bringing into the next game.
Yeah, so obviously waiting for that bounce back. Ito, Coach, we're gonna go to the other series right now. And my partner here has a very simple question on what happened right there. Kasi this was also in the back of my head. Pauline, take it away.
So, Coach, actually, we just want to ask you, what went right naman for TNT in the Game 4?
Well, credit TNT. Magnolia is number one in defense in the league. And TNT is very underrated when it comes to their defense. I thought they played superb defense. And if you think about it, it's just not Williams anymore. Right?
Yeah.
If you look, we had 6 guys in almost double figures. Jason Castro had 9, Pabunting had 9. But other than that, they had 11 guys scoring in double figures. So, they took away Williams in the first half. You can't totally stop him. You can neutralize him and make it difficult for him. He had 0 points, but obviously Williams came out in that second half and contributed. He had 15 points. But again, what they did well was other guys are stepping up. It's just not Williams. No? On the other end, they had 24 assists. They out-rebounded Magnolia, which is top 2 in the league in rebounding, 50 to 33, and 11 players in double digits. So I think that's what Tokentex did well on their side. On the other hand, Calvin, I've coached Calvin before. Where Calvin goes, I think is where Magnolia goes. He had 5 team fouls. He's 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
You look at Magnolia, Padroca, Halalon, and Bueva. Those are the 3 Energizer bunnies. Padroca, 2 out of 7. Halalon, 2 out of 9. Calvin, 1 out of 5. These guys have to come into play and help Sangalang, help Paulie, help Jonicio.
Okay, Coach, syempre, you mentioned it a while ago. Right now, they don't just go by Mikey Williams atong TNT. We actually saw that in the game prior to this, that they could still win without him. But then, syempre, we still have that one big question. Kanina, Pauline asked what went right for TNT. But then, Pauline, so simple. Ano yung susunod? What's the next part of that one?
Well, ngayon, how can Magnolia bounce back?
It's hard to say. I'm sure Coach Chito went with his coaching staff back to the drawing board, right? They're number 1 in defense. And you can't have 6 guys in double figures scoring. So, if it's either you shut down Williams or you shut the other guys down. But when everybody's scoring like that, that matters.
Yeah.
And you gotta stop the rampage of Tokentex if you're feeling it, right? Easier said than done. Tokentex doing very well now. But again, you look at Bueva. Bueva had 5 fouls.
Yeah.
He wasn't really that dominant. He was 1 out of 5. So it really depends on how Coach Chito is going to attack with Abueva. And again, the 2, Baroka and Halalon, they've been evident, right? Halalon is he's in contention for best player of the conference, and he hasn't been evident in this game. So
that's true.
How do you bring back the confidence of a Gio Halalon to contribute?
Well, that's going to be interesting, Coach. And let's see whether or not Magnolia can finally break the duck of TNT. Kasi syempre, we've seen it in the last series, it wasn't necessarily close. This time, it felt a bit closer, but that last game, boy, really confidence on the way of TNT. Coach, good luck in your upcoming matchup. We're really excited to see that one in particular too. And we can't wait to see you again. And hopefully next time dito naman sa studio. And maybe with a trophy.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Pauline.
All right, so after the break, it's going to be a lot more comfortable for Pauline because we will look into Choco Mucho's campaign in the PBL Invitational Conference and what lies ahead for the Flying Titans. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. back to the game. Despite an unfortunate ending to their PBL conference, the Choco Mucho Flying Titans are constantly finding ways to improve the next time around. Joining us today are two of Choco Mucho's decorated spikers, Jerry Nunag and my co-host, Pauline Gaston, who is now going to be a guest and not a host here. Pero first of all, Cherry, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for being here. At anong masasabi mo naman sa first hosting stint ni Pauline dito? May mga notes ka ba? May pointers ka ba for Pauline ngayon?
Ang pretty mo ngayon. Yun lang masasabi ko, ang ganda.
Okay.
Sige, expect.
Thanks, Cherry.
It's perfect. That's perfect. Sige, so straight to volleyball muna. Pauline, I wanna ask you first. Kasi syempre, this is not the ideal season for you and your team. It has been injury-ridden, health and safety protocols. When you look back at it right now, ano masasabi mo sa effort na, that you girls showed and what you wanted to do sana, given the hand that you were dealt with?
Pao, honestly, it was more of some things that we were not able to control. Like, it's not matters of, like, what's happening in the game. It's more of injuries.
Yeah.
Health and safety protocols. So, it's, I wouldn't say malas, but it's the tough breaks that we have to deal with when it comes to playing in these times, like during the time of a pandemic.
Yeah.
And we just had to adjust and really do what we can in order for us to do our best,
Yeah. Cherry, can you tell us a bit about yung frustration? Kasi syempre naman, you were actually part of the health and safety protocols at one point. The frustration knowing that your team is better than the standings have shown, than what the performance was at the end. Anong masasabi mo sa experience ng conference na to?
Sobrang sayang. Sobrang sayang kasi sobrang pinaghandaan namin. Yung training, start pa lang, like before mag-start yung season, pinaghahandaan na namin lahat yung gel ng team, yung kung paano lahat ng plays, and kung paano kami sa bawat isa. So, sobrang nangihinayang ako sa pagod at hirap, pati yung puso ng bawat isa sa amin, yung sa love namin sa volleyball. So, sobrang sayang.
Oo nga eh. And alam mo, that game against PLDT, a lot of people will always look back at it kasi parang ang emotional no? Cherry, I wanna ask you about that in particular kasi syempre, could you tell us about the feelings that went through the entire team still at that point, if I'm not mistaken, battling for a spot at the semis? What went through your minds as a team and for you personally knowing that may chance pa sana kayo?
Actually, sa akin, personally, I feel pressured talaga. Kasi yung last 2 games na natira sa amin is kailangan na namin kapitan. And also, nung time na nawala kaming 4 sa team, naramdaman namin yung pagod and yung puso ng bawat isa na natira, na iwan kung paano nila nilaban yung games nang kulang sila, na lahat nag-a-adjust. Lahat lumalaban para dun sa position na parang kung pwedeng ipanalo nang wala kami, gagawin nila. Mararamdaman mo kung paano nila kagustong ilaban talaga. So, ako, nung time na naka-quarantine pa ako, yung iniisip ko talaga is parang hindi masasayang yung pagod nila. So, ilalaban din namin yung matitira pang games. And sadly, ganun yung nangyari. And yeah.
Well, alam mo, that actually brings me, na-mention mo yung pagod, that brings me to the next point there. Pauline, that final game against Petrogas. Ramdam ba yung pagod throughout the team? Kasi that happened literally a couple days after that matchup against PLDT. People could say, yeah, physical fatigue probably there. Pero emotionally, considering ano nangyari sa team ninyo throughout the conference, naramdam ba ninyo in that game in particular?
Definitely. And also, mentally, we were all tired. We just came from a 5-set match na, syempre, it was high pressure. I think if we won it in 3, we might have, like if we won against PLDT in 3, we might have had a better game during the Petrogas game. But we also came into that game with a lot of pressure because we knew that we had to win it in 3 to get into the semifinals.
What did that tell you about your team? Kasi na-mention mo yung pressure. Na-mention mo yung pressure, and then it's always a big question. How does a team perform under pressure? What did you find out about your team after that game?
Well, pressure comes in and out of the court. In training pa lang, pinipressure na kami ng coaches, and our teammates also, we put pressure on each other. So it's a matter of really knowing when to really strike out and, like, take those high risks. So in that 3-setter match, kitang-kita mo medyo napagod lang din eh.
Alam mo, Pauline, I wanted you to ask Cherry a question sana eh. But then, since we're running out of time, I'll just let you ask Cherry this. Can you kindly ask Cherry, how will you girls improve for next conference? I don't know how you're gonna word it, pero I want you to do it, Pauline.
Cherry, the next season is coming up. What would be, I guess, your preparation, and what would you say would be our team's preparation for the next coming season?
For me, siguro yung pinaka-importante sa team natin ngayon is yung mental health muna ng bawat isa. Like, we need yung mindset natin na ibalik kung paano yung mindset natin before. And also, alam ko, naramdam ng bawat isa sa atin na we don't want that to happen again. Like, we don't want that feeling again pa na mangyari ulit. And alam ko naman na miss na din natin mag-champion. Like, sino bang may ayaw? And for me, yung pinaka-importante ngayon para sa next season is ibalik natin yung mindset natin before, or kung pwedeng lamangan pa, mas lamangan pa natin yung mindset. Kasi mas gigil tayo. I think lahat naman tayo nararamdaman yung gigil na gustong-gusto na nating makarating dun sa taas. And sana ma-enjoy din natin siya habang umaakyat tayo na magkakasama.
Cherry, alam mo, I want to keep Pauline here as my co-host for much longer, pero syempre, I think she's needed in your team as well. Thank you very much for coming on the show. At sana sa susunod, live ka dito sa studio. And then I want to see yung kulitan yung dalawa. I want to see what would happen there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, after the break, we'll find out who made it to Rex Intal's top picks for best blockers in the 2022 PBL Invitational Conference. Stay tuned. You're watching the game.
game. In the heart of volleyball, we've been witnessing the talent of the best professional players in the country. In this edition of the game's Top Picks, PBL analyst Rex Intal shares his list of the top 5 blockers in the 2022 PBL Invitational Conference. Let's watch this.
Hey guys, this is Rex Intal and this is the game's Top Picks where we list the top performing athletes in one discussion. I'll be sharing my top 5 blockers in the 2022 PBL Invitational Conference. My criteria for choosing the best middle blockers are, number 1 is how well you can read the game. Kasi when you're a middle blocker, mostly niread mo yung setter kasi tinatapatan mo lang yung middle blocker. So, binabasa mo talaga yung pitik ng setter, hindi ka masyadong na-fake, and humahabol ka sa mga wings. Number 2 is footwork. Sa transition, mabilis ka umatras, mag-approach, and humabol sa mga block. And number 3 is speed. Kasi syempre, speed kills and kaya nga quicker. Those are my criteria for choosing the best middle blockers. Okay, so in no particular order, the first one is Mika Reyes. We all know how she bloomed when she got in PLDT, and she's been a constant dominant force for her team. She has the experience, the swag, and the height. And siguro nakita natin na volleyball is not all about power. You can score a point just by really being quick.
Right there. Arado with an underhand set. Araneta. Great heads-up play there by Mika Reyes after Araneta just sends that ball over with an over-receive there. Ceballos is dug. We talked about the floor defense, and you're right on the mark there, Ann. This time!
The second one, eto no bias to kasi I'm from Signal, is Ria Meneses. Signal became a real threat in the league when they made the revamp and acquiring Meneses kasi makita mo na she's very agile, she's quick, she has the footwork, humahabol siya sa block, and nakikita natin kung paano niya dadala yung team niya sa elimination.
Dumakulangan does it one more time. And Ria Meneses doing a great job there. Just really watching Del Palomata like a hawk. Sinundan niya talaga, no?
Number 3 naman, eto medyo surprise kasi she's injured ngayon. I watched the game when she got injured, is Aduki. And sayang kasi she was having a really good game that game. So get well soon, Aduki. When watching middle blockers kasi I don't only look at the stat sheet. Hindi ko titingnan yung mga block points. I also looked at how well she could check the ball, or kahit hindi niya ma-block, basta ma-check lang yung ball. And she's been doing a really good job at it. She can hit her quicks effectively, and sobrang dangerous na ng mga running spikes niya. And also, she brings energy to the court.
Gets it to bounce off the tape of the net. Gonzaga is blocked, and that's the W for Choco. Mucho. Kill block for Ogunsanya, now the leading set in the loss against Signal. Ogunsanya again, back-to-back points.
My next one for number 4 is Panaga. We all know that they're at the top of the conference, and she complements her spikers very well. Nagiging decoy siya in a way na nag-open up yung mga blockers for Valdez and Galanza. So magandang effective na decoy si Panaga, and sobrang perfect fit talaga siya sa feed line.
but they don't have a safe lead as well. Oh, wow, but now they probably do.
Solid block there.
Chance to save a match point here.
Oh!
There's the block.
And for my last pick, I would have to go with Del Palomata. Syempre, you can't teach height. And I think she's taller than me. I'm 6'2". She's probably mga 6'3" siguro. And although meron pang kailangan i-improve sa speed and konting tweak na lang sa paghapon ng block, andun pa rin yung intimidating factor na talaga because of the height. And because of this, marami siyang advantages. She can hit the ball hard. Mas nakikita niya yung mas konting talon na lang para ma-block yung quick and then hahabol.
Samonte picking it up. Longest rally so far. And Del Palomata finishes it.
There you go.
And another big finish. Del Palomata with back-to-back.
And those are my top 5 picks for the best middle blockers for the 2022 PBL Invitational Tournaments.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Pauline Gaston.
And that was Rex Intal for the game's top picks. I'm Paul De Rosario, and congratulations to my partner for her debut here on the game. We'll see you again next time.